What are you saying, bro? You ready for another lesson?
Man, I can't wait, man. It's been a while, so...
That's a screw.
You can even tell already, you know?
Wheel 01, you can backtrack now.
Need to be over the field in between the two.
Alright.
What do you know about increasing the angle of bank?
Full speed.
Exactly.
You're fine, you're on the centre line, and then suddenly you're not, bro.
Next time you're in a grass patch.
That landing. Whew. I'm worn out.
Are you aiming to be a commercial pilot?
Yes, at some point.
Yes, so these calls, they have to be made in a commercial environment. Well done, mate. You're going to make a good commercial pilot.
Thank you.
I'll walk up behind the aircraft.
You're very behind the aircraft. We've got a fuel leak. Have we? Yeah.
By the way, go to the whiskey, sorry. The whiskey is quite strong. Mate, you're going to make a good commercial pilot.
You still have control.
No, you tell me when you want to take control. You tell me when you want to take control.
Ever? Do I have to?
Yes. As I say so. Bear in mind, you're going to have to work with what you've got, normally. What do you need?
That's what. I'll make use of what I've got.
Previously on Future Pilot 901.
Okay, how you feeling?
Feeling good?
Good. You're gonna go solo.
Okay. Student Will 08 is ready for departure. We are off.
Student Wheel 08, surface wind is 330 at 9 knots, we've got one to vacate.
Student Will 08.
Charlie Kilo is right base, get out to land. Student Wheel 08, minute takes and well done.
This aircraft is so nice to fly with.
Yeah, very nice.
Victor Golf, clear 20 something, Victoria Airspace now in the climb task sheet 3, 1,000 feet, heading 090 degrees.
Just 3,000 feet is very nice and smooth.
Yeah.
It's not like in the cloud.
Golf, resume that location, Sierra November. This comes the procedure report on localized established.
The whole point of getting your IMC is you fly clouds. That's sort of where we are roughly. See?
Okay.
So we came in for an approach on runway 23. We did a missed approach, and now we're being vectored around to do another approach into runway
So, you're dreaming of becoming a pilot, and your dream seems a long way away from where you are now. Well, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Let's talk about it. Ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of becoming a pilot, but could never afford it. One day I decided. I've always loved flying. Ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of becoming a pilot, but could never afford it. One day I decided to stop making excuses, to sacrifice my comfort, to make my dream happen. My name is D, and this is my journey. This is Future Pilot 901. What's up, people? Aviators, aviation enthusiasts. Welcome back to Future Pilot 901 live here every Monday, 7 p.m. British summertime. My name is D. I'm your future captain, and this is episode number 41. And clearly, I am well out of practice. Skill fade is real. Skill fade is real, but I'm very happy to be here. Hope you're having a fantastic start to the week. It's all goldy good this side. Do you know what? Surprisingly, I've been enjoying the weather. Now, today we got a special guest, so you're gonna have to stay tuned for that. They're going to be very fashionable, joining us later on. So, before that, I get to entertain you for a couple of minutes, and then our special guest will be here. If you're in the UK, we've had some amazing weather. I hope you've been enjoying the weather. It's been really nice, clear skies, sunny, just good, really good. It feels like I've been getting my my dose of vitamin D. Feel a little bit healthier than I was before the last couple of weeks. So I hope you guys are enjoying that. Of course, people have been flying. It's been an amazing time to fly, a brilliant time to fly. Unfortunately, I couldn't fly. I couldn't fly. My bank account would not let me. I couldn't fly. But some people took the opportunity to fly, especially since yesterday was World Pilots Day. Shout out to all the pilots around the world. Did you guys know that? It was World Pilots Day. Yeah, so obviously a lot of people were posting. I posted as well. I was on my way to Salsa, and I was like, oh, it's World Pilots Day. I should probably post. Should probably post something. So I ended up posting something last minute. Just a bit of recognition for all my pilots out there, but also aspiring pilots, but I came across a video from somebody who's quite well known that I thought was quite a cool video, a very good message. And in fact, when I speak to people about YouTube and their journey in terms of aviation YouTube, his name always comes up. He's at the top of the list. They're like, I watched that video where he was talking about, PAPI lights and approaches and all that kind of stuff. So you probably know who I'm talking about. Write your guesses down. Let's see if you're right.
What if I told you that becoming a pilot is one of the most demanding, but also one of the most rewarding journeys you can take? Dear friends and followers, today is World Pilots Day, and I want to speak directly to every future pilot watching this. Because behind every takeoff you see, there are years of preparation you can't see. There are early mornings, long study sessions, moments of self-doubt, and days where things simply don't click. Here's what truly matters. The ones who make it are the ones who keep showing up, the ones who stay disciplined when motivation fades, who stay curious when things get difficult, and who keep learning even when nobody's watching. Aviation doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards preparation and consistency. Therefore, stay disciplined, stay curious, and never stop learning. And one day you're going to push these thrust levers forward and you'll realize it was all worth it. Therefore, happy World Pilots Day. And if this is your dream, do your best and forget the rest.
Do your best and forget the rest. Big shout out to Captain Joe, who is not wearing 4 stripes anymore. Yeah, clearly must have moved fleets. I haven't been keeping up with his progress, but yeah, he must have moved fleets for him to, I don't know, to be back to 3 stripes. But shout out to Captain Joe. Shout out to Captain Joe. Always be a captain in my eyes. Yeah, so, you know, a pretty important message there. And I think that message gets reinforced over and over again for anyone who, you know, has made it. They will tell you resilience is key. Focus on the learning. So important, you know. And another video popped up on the internet of somebody on frequency maybe doing not quite what they intended to be doing on frequency. Do you know what? I'll tell you what. How about I just show it to you? How about I just show it to you?
Sorry, Father God, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for the blessing that we get to fly, Lord. Thank you for health. Thank you for Elise's. Thank you for Henry. Thank you for my life. Help us have a safe flight, Lord. We love you. We praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
The hell?
Sorry, that was on me. Apologize.
November 7th to the tower, 10 left northwest, Roman 9 left, clear for takeoff.
Left northwest, 9 left, clear for takeoff, 754 for Romeo. Father God.
Yeah, so prayers on the frequency. Unexpected. I think it was a mistake, but these things happen. I remember being on final once, and I think I was talking to my passengers, just kind of telling them what I was doing. I think I might have been doing glide approaches, and probably just the tension of the moment. I had my press to talk button pressed down, so I was transmitting. I was like, oh, this is so embarrassing, so embarrassing. But yeah, sometimes it happens. You transmit on the wrong frequency. You transmit without realizing you're transmitting. It's just part of the journey. But what I will say is there are much worse things to be doing on frequency. There are things you could be doing on frequency that are much, much worse, like this.
Meow, 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 meow. Meow. Meow.
This is so stupid. On the 12th of April 2026, pilots and air traffic controllers at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport were treated to a very annoying, but sadly quite familiar radio routine. Firstly, one voice could be heard mewing on the frequency, unclear for how long, but eventually someone, maybe another pilot or a controller, politely suggested that whoever was mewing should maybe be a little bit more professional.
Meow.
You guys, you need to be professional pilots.
But unfortunately, that then didn't work very well. Instead, one or more voices just continued mewing and eventually barking, whilst everyone else had to sit and listen to it. Now, none of this muppetry is really new. And the reason that it got a lot of attention this time was that it seems like this pilot or pilots decided to do this while they were on the ground at Washington National. And that would therefore mean that they were below 10,000 feet and therefore in a sterile phase of flight where no non-operational conversations or transmissions should ever occur. This then means that the FAA is now reportedly investigating this and will hopefully find those responsible and apply the appropriate remedy, which might well include pulling their flight or radio licenses. And if their employer get their hands on them, I suspect that they might be demoted or even lose their jobs, which if they do, sadly wouldn't be the first time that it happens. Now for those of you who think that this is just a bit of harmless fun, trust me, it is not. These supremely irritating noises are quite frequently being transmitted on the 10^5 MHz emergency or guard frequency all over the world, which then becomes something every aircraft needs to listen to, since monitoring guard is mandatory in cruise. And what that then leads to is that when there is enough mewing or barking, pilots just can't take it anymore, and they therefore tend to turn off or reduce the volume on guard, which defeats the whole purpose of the monitoring completely, as we then won't pick up any real distress calls or emergency locator transmitters. And that reduces the safety margin for everyone. On top of this, it's just childish. And when something like this happens, it diminishes the trust in professional pilots by the flying public. And since the success of this whole industry builds on that trust, it is just incredibly unnecessary and stupid. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and also subscribe if you want more.
Yes, so that happened. That actually happened. And apparently it happens. So if I were one of those pilots, I'd be expecting to hear, let's see, I'll be expecting to hear, yeah, except it's going to be the FAA. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody out there, it's time for me to welcome my guest for this evening. Without further ado, hopefully there is no, we don't have any tech issues. I present to you Jameelah. Let's see, can I bring her on? For the first time ever on the Future Pilot 901 platform, we have Jameelah.
Hi, can you hear me and see me okay? Ooh, a little applause, I love it.
Yeah.
That is great. Well, at the moment, I just want to say first and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me on here. It's honestly a pleasure, and I'm really grateful to be here. Super excited too. But I will let you know that I can just see a blank screen, but I'm okay with that. As long as I can see you, that's all good.
Well, it's absolutely an absolute pleasure to have you on board. I can't wait to introduce you to everyone properly. But this blank screen is a pain. That's such a pain. Is there any way you can maybe open up a different tab and view it on? That might not help.
Do you know what? Yeah, I think that might be a good idea. If I try Google Chrome, because I'm on Safari.
Maybe that's it. If you try to open up the link on Google, so just copy the same link over on Google, come out, and then come back in.
Okay, I will do that.
Hopefully that works. If that doesn't work, the show must go on, but that's worth a try.
The show will go on. Okay, I will try recover it on.
All right. See you in a mo. Oh, there you go. Tech issues. That's the world we live in. But yeah, we're gonna have a really cool conversation. Actually, we had a chat less than a week ago, and yeah, there's something that she's cooking up. She's cooking something up. So I told her, come on the platform. Let's have a chat, and let's smell what you're cooking. All right, I've got two of you. Which one do I let in? Check.
Hello. Okay.
Any good?
Perfect.
All right. I've got two of you though. The other one's frozen, so that's fine.
Right. Yep. I've closed the other one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. You can see me. You can see everything.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right. Perfect. Well, let's get into it. So, for people who have no idea who Jameelah is, just give us a bit of a taster of who you are, why what attracted you to aviation as well.
Okay, great. I'm going to try and keep this brief. It's really hard not to ramble when you talk about yourself because, of course, there's so many things that you could say. But I'll start off with my background. So I'm half Somali, half Ghanaian, UK born and raised. I've lived part of my life in London, majority of my life in Cardiff, as that's where my mother is from. And I remember the first memory of where aviation came to mind was when I used to be in East London, staying at my dad's, and he lived really close to London City Airport, and I must have been around 7 or 8, and I remember hearing planes, but I don't think it had registered to me that they were planes, but I remember hearing them all the time. And I think that's when I had the first like interest into like curiosity. What is that sound? Where does it come from? However, it wasn't until I was 14 that I had travelled to Ghana for the first time to see my family. And when I went to Ghana, we travelled through another country. So I had taken 4 flights, it was a 10-day trip, 4 flights in the space of 10 days. And it was like long haul, and 2 long haul flights on the way back. And the whole process, I remember just staring out the window at Heathrow, seeing how they prepared the plane, how we flew, and then how we came back down. And the whole process was so efficient, and I was just so like in awe of how many people it took just from what I had seen to make something feel so smooth, and also the feeling of flight and just travel as well, connecting to my roots. That was what resonated strongly with me. And I remember coming home from that trip, and I'd gone to school like 2 days after I arrived, and I was like, yeah, hi everyone, I've decided I want to be a pilot. And everyone was like, whoa, hold up, Jameelah, you sure you want to be a pilot? Like 2 months ago you wanted to be an engineer, like 3 months before like you wanted to be a doctor. But I was set, and I was like, no, that's what I want to do. And since then I've not let go.
And in your journey at that point, when you decided to, you know, that you wanted to become a pilot, had you come across anyone else who was a pilot or who had even the same kind of aspirations?
Never. It was only when I'd gone to pilot careers live around 1.5 years after that had happened with my dad, and that was the first time that I had been in the space.
How old were you?
When I went to pilot careers live,
Yeah.
I was in year 10.
Wow.
Yeah, 2013.
Wow. I find this to be the case most of the time, you know, for most people that I've spoken to, at the point that they decided to become a pilot, or that they really wanted to become a pilot, there was no one around them. They were literally kind of like lonely, the only person in their circle who wanted to become a pilot. And then they had to kind of seek out this community. And then you find people and you hear them talking and you're like, wait, that's the same excitement that I have. Wait,
exactly.
that's the story that I have. What? This is incredible. So yeah, I can definitely relate to that. So what was it like for you when you finally, you know, got yourself around like-minded people who had similar aspirations and a similar passion and excitement for aviation?
Yeah, I think when you first find out about the different routes that you can take into flying, and of course there are some that are free, for example, if you were to join the RAF, but however, that didn't resonate with me, so I didn't go down that route. But for example, for me, I just saw the financial barrier. It just felt like a massive burden, something that I wouldn't be able to overcome. So when you meet like-minded people, I always said pilots, then you also see that they have the same passion as you, but they're not sitting back down, they're actually doing things about it. It's so inspiring and so encouraging that you're just like, do you know what, even though my end goal is like all the way up here, it's like climbing a mountain. You can still start at the base of the mountain and just slowly like make steps going up. And having your circle and meeting those people, they're the ones that are encouraging you. And if you're left behind, they're pulling you along to be like, hey, let's do this, let's do that. What are you doing right now? And that environment, even though being up here might feel impossible when you're just starting out, you're just like, oh, I'm on a journey, I'm on a path. One step closer is better than no steps closer. So I find it really encouraging.
And so where are you in your journey right now? What experience do you have actual flying?
So I was really fortunate enough to gain a PPL scholarship a couple of years ago from Fantasy Wings, and I started flying on my PPL end of December 2024, and I was fortunate to do 15 hours of my 45-hour PPL scholarship. However, unfortunately, my flight school that was allocated to me was in Essex, in North Weald, and I was working full-time in Cardiff. So I had very limited time in travelling to go to my flight school to complete it in time, and other unforeseen circumstances. However, with that, I was grateful that I managed to get 15 hours, which is such a blessing. And I went up to the point before going to solo, and that, like, being able to go from not knowing how anything works, so just from like just knowing things in a theoretical sense, to actually putting it all together, like familiarizing yourself with the cockpit, to then, I remember the first time I did circuits, my brain was like, oh my goodness, I don't think I can, like, this is a lot to take in, like, I'm forgetting this, I'm forgetting to check the oil, I'm forgetting to, like, check my altitude. It was like multitasking on a different level. However, the beauty of it, it's like driving a car for the first time, like, you don't know where the clutch is, you don't know where the gear stick is, but then it just becomes second nature, and there comes a point where you can just breathe and enjoy it all, and it's like that fulfillment. It's just like, it feels like so rewarding that you're able to accomplish it, like something that felt really difficult. You know, with practice, you can get there. So that's where I'm at in terms of flying experience. I have not been able to continue flying just as of yet. However, that is the goal. I do want to continue flying and complete my PPL and eventually get my commercial license through the modular route.
Yeah, I think, you know, being 140 hours in so far, what is it? It's 5.5 years into my journey so far. Having heard what everyone else has said as well, becoming a pilot is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And like you said, it's a bit like climbing the mountain, and all you have to do is just keep stepping in the right direction. And I think you're absolutely right that when you're in the right environment, sometimes we do fall behind. But because you're in the right environment, you're going to get questions. And this is one of the reasons why I started an Instagram page as soon as I started training. Because even when I didn't fly, people would ask me, oh, how's the training going? How's flying going? And that kind of dragged me forward when, you know, I didn't necessarily have the means or the strength to keep going at the time. So I definitely resonate with that. If you're watching on Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and turn the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And if you're wanting to see what some of that PPL journey is like, then I've got good news for you. You can tune into Future Pilot 901 on YouTube, where you can see my journey doing some of this.
Nice takeoff.
That's a screw. I was waiting for that because everyone does it.
I'm gonna make sure that you can do it. And you can do it, I know.
You get to the height of a double-decker bus.
How about this height?
Smoothly throttle to idle. Smoothly raise the nose.
This is floating. It's float.
Yes, man. Good food after hard days of flying, bro.
Bro, it's needed, man. That landing. Woo. I'm worn out.
Yes. Before we talk about community, I want to go back. So, okay, you talked through your circuit and how overwhelming that was. But let's track back to just your first experience controlling an aircraft. What was that like?
So that would be going way back to 2022 when I had my first trial flight. And I remember all I was expecting was to go into like a little plane and be a passenger and just observe and then go back down. And when the instructor was like, yeah, you can have control of the controls, and you might even be able to land the plane. I was like, I couldn't tell if he was being sarcastic or not. I was like, are you being serious right now? So yeah, just have like fully being in that environment. It was like, whoa. And I was really scared, I'll be honest. I was really scared to take my trial flight, not because I'm fearful of flying, I absolutely love flying. I was scared that the dream that I've been having for so long, I would have that flight, go up, come back down, and just there'd be something that I wouldn't like about it. And I hear that so many people say, have a trial flight, because you never know if you might get motion sickness, you might not like the feeling, you might feel claustrophobic. However, just like it happens to many people, I was really fortunate that I caught the flying bug, and the second I got back down, I was like, get me back up, ASAP. And it was really beneficial in terms of my growth. I just felt so much more driven, and I had my trial flight after I'd completed all of my exams for my final year of my degree. So I was about to graduate, didn't know my results yet for university. However, I knew that I had completed the thing that I wanted to do before I fully put myself into flying, and that was complete university and get my degree. And from then on, I was like, yes, I'm going to do everything that I can to move forward in terms of pursuing my goals.
Yeah. You reminded me of when I started flying and the whole motion sickness thing. So at the time I started flying, I was working in a school. And at the time I worked with a child who needed breaks. And for him, that included going out to the swings. So every day I would take him out to the swing, but literally the tiniest movement on the swing just made me feel sick. I felt like, ooh, right? But at the time I was kind of surviving in my flights. But then every day I kept on sitting on that swing, and knowing that I needed to get over it, I just pushed myself every day. Take the kid out, go on the swing, get used to it. And after a while, I was fine. So I don't know what people's stories are with, sickness and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just persevered through it. So if there's anybody out there listening, I don't know, maybe that might be something to try out if you've never tried it. But it definitely took some, repetition. Yeah. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's quite a good thing to be able to reflect on things that you need to work on, but then actively make that effort. So I think that's the reason why it's beneficial if you are an aspiring pilot to get yourself out there, put yourself in the environment that you would be training in, as it's important. Safety is number one. You've got to be healthy and feel like secure that you're able to be completing the job in a safe manner. So yeah,
absolutely. So tell me about first of all, why you think networking and aviation communities are important, why and what idea you've come up with.
For sure. Okay, so I remember first networking whilst I was at university, and that wasn't for me in terms of aviation. It was just I really wanted to get experience, and there are these things called spring weeks at university that you would apply for, but however, to really understand how to put yourself forward in an application, networking was a key tool in assisting me to eventually put in a best application forward. And I remember going to events, and I still remember thinking, what does network mean? And like, what do I actually have to do? Like, what do I need to talk about? And it was so daunting. And yeah, I just felt really uncomfortable. And I think looking back now, I think it's because I had no true passion or no true interest in the field that I was looking into. So it didn't come to me naturally. I had to think really hard. However, when I finished university, like I told you, I was like, yeah, want to do everything. Like I want to learn how to fly. I want to get myself in the air. But the funding was the thing that was holding me back. So I was like, okay, great, gonna apply for scholarships. So I applied for scholarships. I remember applying for my first one. I was like, yes, I'm ready. I've got everything. I've got examples of being resilient. That's like a key thing with being a pilot. I've got this experience. I've had a job at this point. I've got a degree. I was like, yeah, I'm perfect. And then, well, not perfect, but I just thought, yeah, I'm putting my best foot forward in comparison to the person that I was 3-4 years prior. So I remember doing my first application and I hadn't even passed the first stage. And I remember just feeling like, I'm okay with rejection, but to be at the first stage, I was like, it really hit because I thought I had done everything that I could possibly do. So networking came from a natural place because I'm someone who always wants to learn where I've made a mistake, where I've gone wrong. So from that, I'd reached out to people and I was like, look, can you help me? I don't know what I've done. Like, what are your thoughts? And people would come back to me and help me. And then naturally, the same thing would happen again. I applied for another scholarship after that and I got rejected. And then it was actually HCAP, the PPR that you were awarded. And I remember going to PCL, like the next one after I had my rejection. And I remember just approaching Sam and be like, look, I failed the last time, didn't get past the first stage. What can I do to improve? So that's how I started my networking journey. And I realized that I could benefit so much from it. And another thing that I noticed was people in aviation are so kind to share their mistakes. They're so kind to share their journey, as they understand that if you are an aspiring pilot, you're not just an aspiring pilot for the sake of it because of the cost. You genuinely want to fly because you're sacrificing so much of your time, so much of your money into it. You're taking a big risk going into it. It's not something that you can just do. Like, yeah, I want to be a pilot. Let me just fork out this money and do it, type of thing. So when I had realized how welcome the community was and how much I could learn from it, I was like, yes, I love this. I'm going to take full advantage of this and really help myself to pursue my own dreams. However, moving on to what I'm doing now, the years have gone on and I've gained so much from networking. I've made friends. I've made friends with people who not only want the best for themselves, but they want the best for people around them. And I'll know a friend who's at a certain point in their training, and I'll meet another person who wants to be like that person. And I'll be like, oh, let me connect you, and then the rest is history. I would be out of it, but I know that they're helping someone that they've just met just out of the kindness of their heart. And also, it's just what people in aviation do, right? However, I did feel quite recently, in recent months, I just feel like that there's a bit of a gap in aviation in the sense that we're all great at networking one-to-one, and there'll be aviation events where there'll be an event and then at the end there's a networking session, and one-to-one we're having all of these great, fantastic conversations. We're learning about things people wish they had known before they did their modular training, things people wish they had known before choosing their integrated flight school, things people wish they had known before going into and joining an airline, like what kind of research they wish they did, like does this airline align with me and the life that I want to live as a pilot, or do I want to fly commercial, do I want to fly privately? So I thought that why do we not come to a space where we actually have these conversations in real time, for example, things I wish I knew before I was going to fly, and we have those conversations and we bounce off of each other and we learn from each other and we say, look, these are the mistakes I made. I'm not saying that they are mistakes, but maybe you would want to prevent yourself in making the same ones. So I've been thinking, and my thinking is slowly coming to fruition, and hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to create that space.
First of all, I want to commend you because it is a vulnerable thing to open up about a mistake. You know, people can kind of feel precious about their mistake. And in a way, I think it, I mean, I'm curious about your thought, but I think you have to detach yourself from your mistake enough to be able to ask about it and get feedback. Because sometimes I guess what makes people hold back is they feel like their mistake means that they're inadequate, and maybe that they will never, there's a fear that they will never be adequate, and maybe that's what holds them back. Whereas somebody who seeks feedback knows, okay, I know I'm not good enough right now, but I can be. You know, I just need to unlock it. So I just wanted to commend you on your attitude to that, and you know, yeah, just point that out, that's a really, really important thing. And of course, debriefing is like a buzzword in aviation. You're not going to get, you know, a few steps anywhere without debriefing or having some kind of reflective interview. But I love this idea that you're saying, you know, when we spoke, you talked about these conversations that were happening like one-to-one at networking events. And it's kind of like, almost like, you know, I wish this person could hear this, because that person, you know, this person that I know is at this stage and they could apply this. And so it's almost like you're wanting to create this space where everyone can come together and have that kind of conversation that would be beneficial.
Exactly. That is exactly it. And honestly, it is nerve-wracking because I don't think I'm a perfectionist, but people at work think I am. My friends and family think I am. I know that I will make mistakes. I'm in creating this space. I know that I will learn from it. However, I don't want it to be a thing that it's just me that's doing it. I'm so focused on making it a community-led approach. I'm so open to taking on feedback from what people think. I do have a clear vision in what I want for it, as I feel like if you don't have a clear vision, it's very easy for things to slip up into something that is everywhere. But I know that what I want it to be is a space where we're able to bounce off of each other. I don't want it to be a group chat. I don't want it to be a one-to-one thing. I really want it to be open. I want people to feel safe. I don't want people to feel pressured at all. But it's that idea, it's literally that idea of that we have so many conversations one-to-one. Let's have a conversation together. And for example, talk about things I wish I had known before I did my first solo. And really help those who have flown this flight before us, flown the route before us, and the people who've flown the route before us, I mean, are able to help those who are about to fly that route, which I think is what is needed. And when I thought of the idea, I was like, oh, I wish someone would create this space. Like, that was what was going in my mind, like, why doesn't it exist? And then I just thought, do you know what? It doesn't exist because you haven't created it, Jameelah. So that was my next step. I was like, right, I've got to get it going. That's how things are at the moment.
So what are you calling it?
I am calling it the debrief. So it literally is debriefing others on what we have done to get to where we are. And the debrief is something that happens at the end of every flight. And people take different flights, people at different points with their flights. So it might be at PPL, so it might be a captain, so it might be a training captain. Like, we're all at different stages. However, I want to be very specific on the stage that we're focusing at each debrief. But yeah, I thought the debrief was just a great way of explaining what it is in a nice, short way.
And is it going to be online, or is it going to be in person, face-to-face?
That's a really good question. So I think the best way for it would for it to be in person. However, I am so focused with, when I said that I have a clear vision for it, one of the main things for this, for it to be accessible to everyone, is that it's got to be free. And for it to be accessible to everyone, I was like, it has to be free. However, having events in person, you know that nothing in life is free, unfortunately, if you want something in person. And I don't want it to be a case where I'm forking out money and then asking people to buy a ticket. That's not what I want at all. I want anyone to come to give their free advice, just like they would in a networking event. And I'd also want people who may not have the funds to fly and who actually want to apply for scholarships and genuinely want to learn more. I want it to be accessible for them as well. So eventually would love for it to be in person. However, I think to get us started off and for us to actually have a community and have those people who are willing to host us in person, I think the community needs to exist first. So hopefully soon, but we are going to start off online, and then eventually, God willing, would love for it to be in person so that we can have those live conversations and bounce off one another.
Okay, I'm going to say something slightly controversial. I don't think it should be free. There, I said it. I said it. The reason, okay. I think potentially, as an idea, as a suggestion, you could have a low amount and maybe think about what you use those proceeds for. Because then that could make it worth people paying something, if that makes sense. Because they know it's going to something good, something useful. Right. However, the idea of investing, okay, to some degree, people could invest in terms of like making their way to the venue. But a lot of the time, people don't really pay attention until they have some kind of investment. They have some skin in the game. Without skin in the game, people can just click. Yeah, okay. For some reason, the human mind, psychology, we associate high price with high value. Therefore, low price with low value, which is not what this is going to be. So that's just my, chucking a spanner in the works as a thought. I don't know. A spanner in the works. I wonder what people think. Do you, as an audience watching, do you think something like this is, and I love that you want it, Jameelah, to be community led. So maybe this is a good community conversation. Should something like this be completely free and accessible in that way, or should it be, an affordable fee that's kind of a token, but that token is used for, the proceeds are used for something beneficial that helps people, don't know, just a thought. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I just think when I say accessible, I'm just thinking about those who might be in school and have the same aspirations as myself, or they're in university and come from difficult backgrounds. Because we look at aviation, we look at the people who are pilots and they come from a certain background, and we need to diversify aviation, not just in terms of where people are from, but also where do they come from in their background in that sense. Their socioeconomic background. So I just thought to help aviation with that in that aspect. That's why I wanted it to be free, but maybe it could be a thing where we actually take in applications, and I'm not saying prove your economic background, but if you simply say that you're a student, maybe I could have free tickets for students, and if you're a student and you're working, then you'd be able to pay that small fee. I'm not sure, but at the moment we're starting off online, so those are still conversations to be made. But I'd love to hear your opinion on it as well, so maybe we can discuss about that in some more detail when we have time. Yeah,
no, just chucking ideas out there. But I mean, I think you're right. It gets a bit too messy if you're looking at people trying to prove things and then data management. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, in what we're doing, like you said, we come across, and I had the same experience, people who are just so generous, so kind in aviation. And in a way, having some of those things on trust is, also sending out the right message, in terms of hey, just tell us if you're a student, fair enough, just tell us. And we can make concession for you. If you're working, just be honest about it. The proceeds are going towards something nice anyway. It's not crazily priced. It's just a little token, you know. So who knows? Yeah, worth exploring. But I'm very excited about the idea. Do you know when the first one's going to be?
I do. We do have a set date, and I'm so excited for it. Very kind friends who are pilots, who are PPL scholars, who are scholars in other aspects of trying to make it, but of course flying schedules get in the way, have said that they'll be there. So watch this space if you are interested and this feels like something that's exciting for yourself. At Join the Debrief on Instagram, that is where we'll be launching everything.
Okay, let me just pull that up. Let me see.
Coming very, very soon.
Okay, that's at Join the Debrief on Instagram. Let's see. Okay, here we are. Instagram. I've got like a million tabs open right now. Let's see. Okay.
There we are.
Last week, actually. Yeah, so as you can see, starting out, but I think it's a great idea, and I'm looking forward to, getting involved and seeing what happens. So yeah, make sure you give Join the Debrief a follow on Instagram, where they're going to find more information when it comes out. Is that correct?
That is correct. Everything will be launched on there.
Super. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I think you're right. That, these conversations, people sharing about their journeys, success leaves clues, and so why try to reinvent the wheel and kind of get stuck at one stage when, you could just get a little pointer from somebody, just a tip that kind of helps you accelerate forward. And then when you move forward, you take forwards, look back, pull somebody else up.
Exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, I've found the aviation community, particularly online, because that was my first experience before the in-person stuff. Literally people watching my videos and just going, hey, have you tried this? Be mindful of that. And I'm like, I would have never realized that unless you said it. So I'm just like so grateful. So I love this idea. I think it's a brilliant idea. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what it becomes. Wait.
Ooh.
Tech issues.
Is that me dropping? I'm so sorry.
It might have been me. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that idea. So watch this space, people. Watch this space as far as Join the Debrief. Make sure you follow on Instagram to stay up to date with the latest. But yeah, you will be able to find, a place where you can congregate with other people, find out more about their journey. And it sounds like, it's going to be led in terms of there's going to be different topics each time. And it's going to be a conversation around that. Whereas, in a networking event, maybe it's one-to-one, you kind of have to go ask this question. But really, in this forum, the question's already asked for you. And, people, the right people have kind of already been called together for you. And you can just get to feast on the information. So it sounds like a really good idea.
Thank you, I appreciate it, and also your support as well. Genuinely grateful for it. I appreciate your honesty. I think it's really important to be honest. Sometimes I feel like those who are friendly with you, they might not want to be honest with you, but I think honesty is the best way, and that's what helps us move forwards together.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Now, I know I've got to let you go. But before I let you go, I wanted to initiate a new Future Pilot 901 ritual. A new ritual, which is...
Oh my goodness, I should have rehearsed.
Which is the phonetic alphabet. Let's go. One second. sometimes the sound doesn't pick up from the microphone when my soundboard is playing.
I see. Yeah, sorry.
No, all good, all good. So I hope you don't have AI helping you, or you don't have.
I don't even know how AI works. Till this day, I'm like, no, honestly, because I'm a teacher, and I think some of the students might use AI for their homework, and I have no idea what they use, how they use it. In my old school, they were all like tech, like geeks on that, and I have no idea what they were doing.
No, it's the world has definitely changed, but there are a lot of like AI checker tools now that's like picking up, AI language. But I digress. But I wrote an application and sent it to somebody, and they said to me, "You're using big words. People might think it's AI." And I was like, "No, I worked all my life to be eloquent, to be good at communication."
It's tough.
And now my writing, my applications sound like AI. So I'm like, okay, you gotta dumb it down a little bit. Yeah, but back to this. This is the phonetic alphabet challenge, and the challenge is to say all the letters in the phonetic alphabet as quickly as you can. I have a stopwatch here. I will time you, and what we're going to do over time, the more guests we have, is we're going to build a leaderboard. Okay. Going to build a leaderboard on this. It's just a bit of fun. Are you ready?
I think I've made up my own phonetic alphabet. So
hey,
if
I'll accept.
I get it wrong, okay.
I'll accept, as long as it starts with that letter.
Alpha?
I will accept. Okay. Are you ready? Well,
I think I am. Let's go for it.
Okay, so Jameelah, let's play the phonetic alphabet. Wait, 1 second. Phonetic alphabet challenge. All right. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta Echo Foxtrot Golf Hotel India. He's like J. What's J? J.
Any J would do. Any J would do. Keep going.
J for Jameelah. Kilo. Lima. This is awful. Mike. November. Oscar. And then I know Peter. QRS. This is awful. I'm supposed to be a pilot, right? Q. Q4. Quebec. R for Romeo. S for Sierra. T for Tango. QRS, T, UV, umbrella, violet. W, whiskey. X, xylophone. Y and Z, Yankee, Zulu. That was not good. That was...
Under pressure.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. If anyone was rooting for me, I'm sorry I let you down. I'll hold my hands up. I let you down. I'm so sorry. I tried.
Hey, under pressure, and you're the first one.
Juliet. Oh my god.
Hey, either way, you're the first one. You're number one. Right now, you're at the top. You're at the top of the leaderboard.
Winners only in this corner. I love it. Yes, I'm a winner.
So that means, obviously, you got to come back and then beat your old score and improve even more. Hopefully, once the debrief is established a bit more, and we can talk about how that's working, and hopefully extend the invitation to even more people to start attending. But next week, I will be joined by somebody who's been on the channel before. I'll be joined by Ronica. We're going to talk about Mac and Knots.
I'm excited.
We're going to be talking about Mac and Knots.
Excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. It's going to be a really good conversation, and she's going to be number 2 victim number 2 of the phonetic alphabet challenge.
Well, I'm gonna rehearse with her. I'll make sure that she does better than me. I'll prep her.
See, that's that spirit of helping people. I tell you, it's everywhere in aviation, and it's amazing to have people like you who are very kind and willing to give, you know, whatever you have to give. So I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing for, you know, the aspiring pilots in the aviation community that you're part of. So thank you very much on behalf of all the aspiring pilots out there who, you know, will be supported by what you're doing.
Thank you. That's so kind of you. And I don't think I'm anywhere near deserving any of those kind words. But honestly, it's been such a pleasure being on this platform, and I'm grateful for you to giving up your time and allowing me to be here, and sharing the debrief on here has been a real great pleasure. Thank you for always offering your kindness and offering your help. Really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see next week's episode.
Oh yeah, Jameelah, thank you very much. I'll let you go. I know you're a busy person, so I'll let you go. Thank you very much for joining, and I'll catch you soon. Shout out for Jameelah. Shout out. Do that. Do you know what? I'll just say I know somebody called Jameelah, and then I know Jameelah. So sometimes I can get in between all of those.
I didn't even notice the difference. I feel like I just hear it all and I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Brilliant. All right. Well, for people who are watching, if you've never brought yourself into the Future Pilot 901 channel on YouTube, make sure you check this out. I've always loved flying.
Hello. Radar. Come on. Well done.
And dancing, there's no denying. If only I could blend the two. I know what I'll do. I'll fly to new places, to dance with new faces, making the most of the wins a private pilot license brings.
That was a little bit gusty.
Just made a no-fly decision.
Sport conspicuity, 3-4 shore.
A different way to our build and advance.
2-0, during downwind.
I call it fly to dance.
4 flaps.
Ooh, nice one.
Flaps come up.
Well, flight, man.
Foxtrot Sierra, welcome to shore.
We have everything in this flight, man.
Everything, bro.
Yes. I hope you enjoyed that. I appreciate Jameelah passing through. Definitely excited to see what happens with the debrief. You know, very excited to see what happens with that. But honestly, we had earlier on in January, we had Keno on. And, you know, he said something really important that resonates. Isolation is a dream killer. Do not isolate yourself. That is true in many different ways. And I love the idea of sharing lessons, you know, with each other and having a forum to talk about some of the things that we've learned on our journey and making sure we pass that information on, you know, and for people who are looking for that information to know where to go to find it. Another place to find such information is in books. Books like this, 81 Lessons from the Sky by Fletcher Mackenzie. 81 stories from general aviation pilots who lived to tell the story. So I thought I'd finish up with one section from this book. If you've never read it, it's really interesting and useful book. It's basically a collection of stories, as it says on the cover. It's a collection of stories of people who have different issues, you know, in different categories. So it's been categorized in the book as airworthiness and maintenance stories, or complacency and fatigue stories, human factors in decision making, communication and air crew, weather and wind issues, controlled airspace and air traffic control, near miss and separation issues, technology and automation, issues on the ground. So it's really, really useful just to learn from other people's mistakes so that you don't have to make it yourself. Or if it happens to you, you can recognize it immediately and, you know, pull from that bank of information. So I thought it'd be apt to finish with a section, one story from this entitled Home Truths. A few home truths. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, I have taken this stream away from YouTube. However, when I have guests on, I will have it on YouTube. So YouTube, you're only going to get this show when guests are on. When no guests are on, I will be exclusively on Kick. And remember, the show is on every Monday, 7 p.m. British Summer Time. So, home truths from the book, 81 Lessons from the Sky. I was 40 years old before I could achieve a long-time ambition to fly. Over the next 20 years, as a PPR holder, I managed a few hundred hours on Cessnas and Pipers, gaining a night VMC rating and a formation flying endorsement. Now nearing 80 years old and no longer flying, I can only look back on my excellent formal training and on the informal advice from more experienced pilots that enabled me to do this without even scratching an aircraft or scaring a passenger. You can learn a lot about safety by listening to hangar talk. What do you do on a touch and go when the full flaps refuse to retract and the end of the short strip is fast approaching? Recycle the flap settings? That sometimes works. It did it for me. What happens on a cold, starry night at 5,000 feet, miles from anywhere, when the previously smoothly purring single engine begins to cough and splutter? Apply full carb heat and hope any ice is melted quickly. Again, that worked for me. Acting as a check pilot during club competitions in a venerable Cessna 150, what is the correct protocol when the ex-RAAF PIC with thousands of hours on the most sophisticated aircraft, but few on the Cessna, is about to go around with full flap extended? Say flaps very firmly and audibly. And we cleared the trees bordering the country strip with room to spare. Sometimes, however, a problem arises which you have not heard discussed. One occurred when I was completing my final 5-hour navigation exercise to gain an unrestricted license. The instructor arrived at the field late, but I had prepared well in advance and we took off soon after. 3 incidents occurred during the flight, none of which I really understood until several days later. I had planned for BO 50, but my instructor told me to climb to 9,500 feet, saying he would do the necessary communication with ATC. I was happy to aviate and navigate, leaving the communicate part to him. Soon after reaching the new level, I heard a mildly reprimanding ATC on the radio telling us that we were on the incorrect frequency and should change to the one he was giving us. Embarrassing. But not really my problem. I thought the instructor was using the incident to impress upon me the importance of correct communication. He definitely succeeded. Arriving over a country airport where a landing was planned, I was meticulous in letting down to circuit height on the dead side and accurately flying the crosswind and downwind legs. I was really anxious to impress the instructor. Imagine my horror when, on turning base to final, I was asked, "Do you intend to land downwind?" The windsock clearly showed I was landing into wind. It pointed out this fact to the instructor, who then agreed with me, and we landed uneventfully. Once again, I assumed that this was part of the test I was undergoing to become an unrestricted pilot. Fuel checks on the ground showed we had sufficient fuel for the flight home. Back in the air, I was given an unexpected diversion to an unknown locality. I thought I handled the diversion well. Just 15 minutes out from home base, I was feeling comfortable with my day's performance. True, the instructor had not said much on the flight, but we were not there to chat. My job was to convince him that I flew well enough for my license restriction to be lifted. Suddenly, with no warning, the engine stopped. From the startled look on the instructor's face, I knew this was no test. It was the only time before or since that I've had an engine quit on me in flight. The silence is awesome. In less time than it takes to tell, I recognized the cause of the engine failure and fixed the problem by reaching down and changing the fuel selection from left to right tank on the console of the Cessna 172. The engine immediately restarted. I had run the left tank dry. Before that day, I'd always flown the fuel selection on both, ignoring the left and right switches. On this flight, the instructor overrode my choice, saying that the tanks should be alternated each 30 minutes for a more balanced flight. He took it upon himself to make the change, doing so several times. And with no real choice, I was not going to argue with him. But somehow, in the final stages of this flight, he forgot to make the switch. The left tank was exhausted. No harm was done, as the other tank held adequate fuel. I completed the day's exercise successfully. A few days later, I found out why my instructor, normally really sharp with his instruction, had been so far off his game as to make 3 errors with a student, one of which, at least, could have been serious, and all of which were embarrassing and unnecessary. That morning, before he set off for the training aerodrome, he and his wife had argued seriously enough for the D word to be used. That's divorce. He had spent the day in a highly emotional state of mind, sitting beside me for 5 hours with little to do but chew over his worries. He became even more preoccupied with his domestic problems and less aware of what he was doing. The safety lesson I learned that day has not been forgotten. Flying demands total concentration. Emotional worries and personal concerns must not be taken into the air, and most definitely, there must be no fight with the wife before the flight. Those are a few home truths from the book, 81 Lessons from the Sky, 81 Stories from General Aviation Pilots Who Lived, Fletcher Mackenzie. Well, with that said, I leave you. But whatever you do, I hope that you will continue to be resilient no matter what happens, no matter what the situation looks like, no matter what failures you have. I hope that you plug yourself into communities that will help you to continue growing and developing, and that you will learn and hear about stories like these so that if you ever face a similar situation, you too can recognize it and act swiftly to keep yourself safe and the people around you safe also. Thank you very much to Flying Fin UK, always a faithful. Again, once you pass your test, please let us know. We want to celebrate with you. But thank you very much for passing through. See you next week. I will be on YouTube and on Kick next week because I'll be having a guest on. Veronica will be back, and I'm looking forward to having a chat. A chat about her new venture, the new community that she has built, and it may well be useful to you. That's it from me. Until next time, this is Future Pilot 901. I'm your future captain. My name is D, and I'm reminding you, no matter what, to live your dream. Take care. I've always loved flying.
Hello. Ultra radar. Come on. Well done.
And dancing, there's no denying. If only I could blend the two. I know what I'll do. I'll fly to new places, to dance with new faces, making the most of the wins a private pilot license brings.
That was a little bit gusty. Just made a no-fly decision.
Sport constituency, 3-course shore.
A different way to our build and advance.
2-0, during downwind.
I call it fly to dance.
4 flaps.
Ooh, nice one.
Flaps come up.
Well, flight, man.
Foxtrot Sierra, welcome to shore.
We have everything in this flight, man.
Everything, bro.
Man, from living in my car to finally getting my trial flight done.
Hold it.
To being in this moment.
Hey, come on. Well done.
Was it worth the sacrifice? Oh man.
Flat. Golf X-ray.
Pull back. Maybe pull back more. Hold it there. Pull back.
Switching to Southern radar 130.
A bit more.
Listen. Was it worth the sacrifice?
So, power right on. Center line.
Listen, if you have a dream, it's down to you to make it happen, man. You might give it everything and it might still not work, but guess what? The journey makes you a better, stronger person. Can you imagine what kind of person you would become if you didn't pursue the one thing that you thought was the best thing in the world? You didn't pursue it. What kind of person does that make you after 20, 30 years of doing that? But when you chase what you believe is the most valuable, the most beautiful, the most awesome thing that you can do, and you give it everything, win or lose, you become a better person.
Ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of becoming a pilot, but could never afford it. One day I decided to stop making excuses, to sacrifice my comfort, to make my dream happen. My name is D, and this is my journey. This is Future Pilot 901.